writing your own emails, I always talk about it like there's a level of easy thinking from all of us that takes place, and you can kind of get through that pretty quick. And then you get to a point where you're like, oh, I haven't thought about this thing yet. What do I think about this? What is my process? What is my framework?
Yeah.
What is my approach? And you may have it, but you've never documented it or really reflected on it. That's the level of hard thinking that most people want to avoid. But that's where the juice is.
That's brand voice. That's where I live. I like doing the deep thinking. This is what I do with people, for people, and for myself. I have done a lot of deep work and deep reflection. I understand what my voice is. There are a lot of things that I've written that I haven't sent. And it's because when I figure out what my stance is, I was like, this actually doesn't align with my brand. This was a journal entry. This was my therapy. This is not for the list. This was for me. I don't send those. But yeah, understanding what your perspective is, that's really the thing that I help people figure out is what is there, when you're writing for an email, you're writing as a brand. You're not necessarily writing as you. There's a difference between Justin Blackmon and justinblackmon.com. And I understand what my focus is. So when I'm writing, it begins with that big picture, but then it gets very narrow and very specific, and it has to align with what I've been saying, what my thoughts are, what my processes is, what my frameworks are. So it has to come down to a consistent message, which is really a consistent perspective that I've been able to hone with my brand voice. That's really the true challenge. I think that's my interpretation of what you're saying.
Yeah, totally. I don't think of it through the lens of brand voice as much as it is, there's like this epidemic of uninsightful insights in the world. And I think the problem is because most people refuse unintentionally. It's an unconscious decision, but it's a refusal to go past the easy thinking.
Yeah.
Because it's uncomfortable, because it hurts. It's an extremely frustrating experience to format an opinion on something that you haven't spent any time thinking about. And back to like that whole wring you out like a towel analogy, people feel like that's what's happening to them when you are trying to get them to force out an insight. That's why I think the problem is with like a standard like ghostwriting arrangement. They're like, please expert at me for an hour so I can make you a bunch of stuff out of you experting at me. And then the stuff is like very ho-hum. Yeah. It's like uninspired because it's a lot of stuff that people haven't thought about.
Yeah. It's one of the things that there's a training that I've run primarily with copywriters and a couple of business owners called Manifesto Maker, where we help you figure out what is that deeper thing? What is your line in the sand? And when you were saying the uninsightful insights, it basically came to the point where a lot of us were just talking in platitudes and we didn't really understand what our motivation was. We're like, oh, we just want to make the world a better place. Or I want to help, I write copy that converts, or I want to help people get unstuck. I'm like, well, why? Well, because it's important for them. Well, why? Well, because, they're not showing up the way that they're supposed to. They're not able to help people. And they're like, well, why is that important to you? Because, I want to help them. Why? Because nobody helped me. Why? Because I never had the resources that are available now, and I wish that somebody helped me. Why? Because my mother, father, aunt, uncle said this. They're like, go deeper. What's there? And they're like, I was taught to believe that I can't succeed. And now I think it's really important to help other people succeed and not be stuck the way that I was because of something that a third grade teacher said. Okay, now I have something.
Now we have, yeah.
But you have to get people uncomfortable. Like a lot of people turn off the cameras during this thing because tears just break through and tears. And some people come out and they read this stuff. And one of the things that we do in Manifesto Maker is we write something so powerful that your hands begin to shake. And we write by hand. We don't write on keyboard. That's the deep insight. Once you figure out, I am pissed at my third grade teacher, you can either let that go Or you can dial in, like, I understand now it's not my job to help you get unstuck. It's my job to cut the tie that's holding you back from something that was planted a long time ago that wasn't your fault. Once we figure out what that is, you can go forward like a rocket. Now I have something I can work with. Now I understand your perspective, your mission, your value, your why, all of that stuff. Going deeper, yeah, it hurts, but the release that comes out of it, the benefit of it, you get a stronger voice, you get a stronger perspective, you actually have an insightful insight that can truly help people as opposed to a platitude in no one.